Okay, good morning. Welcome to our Tai Chi, Qigong, and internal martial arts class for this Tuesday morning, last Tuesday of January. Time is flying on by. So we'll be starting into February's lessons next week. The sword classes are having their last sword class today. So this will be of this section. This will be the end of the Muay Gim study and the basic sword handling skills. Next week, we are going to start into a new weapon. We're going to be starting with the fighting fan. So if you're interested in learning a little bit about an unusual historical weapon from China, we're going to be spending a couple of months working on the fighting fan and learning a fan set also from the Choi the Foot system, same as the sword. Sword was from the Choi the Foot system as well, the Moi Gim. So that will be starting next Tuesday morning at 11. If you don't have a fan, there's been a couple of people who have found some pretty good ones uh, online. I used to be able to get them through a supplier I had, but they don't carry them anymore. If you don't have a fan, it's okay. You can do a huge amount of the fan set just using a piece of doweling or a ruler or things like that, because the fan set was a way to learn a lot about knife fighting, actually. So we're going to be looking at a lot of the striking techniques without the fan open, but eventually we'll open the fan. Sally gave me a link to one that she really liked, and I will post that up in case anybody's interested in getting one for themselves. I'll try and get that out in the January newsletter that I'll send out to everybody about February's classes. Okay, why don't we get started up? We'll settle in those feet and tongue to the roof of the mouth. And just gently inhale, looking up. Good, and down. Again, inhale and rise. And exhale to settle. One more time, rising up and down. And looking from side to side. And ear to one shoulder and hang. And to the other. Again to the first side. And to the second. We're going to let the head roll and do some gentle half circles in the front. Keeping the jaw closed, we'll take the chin up and around. And then same the other way. Good. Shoulders can come forward. Shoulders can rise up. Squeeze back and let them settle. Again, up and back and down. And one more time, up and back and settle. Then we're going to reverse. We're going to come up the back and around in the front. And then into the arms, we're going to cross and rise out to the sides and down. And then reverse out the sides and down in the front. And an arm up nice and high, hand over to one side. And then same on the other. And one more time on the first side. And on the second. Okay, we'll bring those arms up in the front. We're going to turn the trunk, let the arms come down, turn the trunk and let the arms rise up. So we'll turn and let it settle. And twist and rise. Good. Twist to settle. And rise. Now without twisting, let's go the opposite direction. So down the sides, turn at the bottom and rise. Twist at the top and settle. And twist to rise. And last time, let it settle. And then we'll just let those arms go nice and loose and wrap around the body. Okay, a bit of shoulder stretching. So let's cradle one arm in the other. Give it a bit of a gentle pull across. And then same on the other side. Good. Over the head, if you can, touch the elbow and let that shoulder rest down towards the ground. So you don't have to yank the arm behind your head heavily. You can kind of hold it in place and let the shoulder rest to the floor. And same on the other side. Good. And then behind the back, a little bit of a pull. And then the same on the other side. Keep that range of motion in the shoulder. One more time. Let those arms go nice and loose. Okay, let's head to the hips. And we'll roll those hips around one way. Trying to keep the head fairly still. Let the hips go through their range. And the other direction. Good. One more time. First way. And the second. We'll put the heel on the ground, let that toe rock in and out. And toe on the ground, let the heel go in and out. Same on the other side, heel down and toe in and out. Toe down and through the heel. Okay, balance and range of motion for the hip. So we're going to turn in, we're going to lift up, we're going to turn out, we're going to set that back down. So in and across, up as high as you can, and down. One more time. Good. Same on the other side. In and up, and out and down. Good. We'll go in the opposite direction. So we're going to turn the foot out. We're going to lift up. We're going to turn in and down. Good. And same on the other side. From the outside, lift up, turn in and down. Good. Okay, we've been using a bit of leg work from the 20 Qigong. So we're going to lift the knee up high. We're going to rotate the hip so the foot goes up towards the ceiling on the inside. And we're going to try and rotate that foot so it goes up on the outside. Inside, outside, good. Inside and outside. And we'll let that settle. And same on the other leg. Inside and outside. Good. Inside and to the outside. One last time. Inside and outside and down. Good. Shake out those legs a little bit. And we'll bring the feet together. Let the knees roll around one way. And the knees around the other. One more time. The first way. And the second. And then a bit of a stretch down towards the ground. And then we'll roll and come back up. Okay, we have been focusing on a footwork pattern from the 20 Qigong for the last couple of lessons, and I'd like to keep that going for another couple lessons to the end of the month. This is one that works on the idea of rolling through your gait, being able to roll from heel to toe. It's also really good at kind of working that range of motion on the toes. So much of the time, because of thick boots and shoes, we don't roll through our foot fully. So this is an exercise for that as well. So the first part of it is heel down and ball a foot down. And we try to pick up that back heel. So we're kind of on the heel and the ball, and we shouldn't be rising our center up. We want to roll through the feet. Right, Ollie? So then we're going to put the other foot down, and the same thing. We don't want to pop up. We want to figure out how to release the hip and the knee on that back foot. Now we're going to roll through the toes on that back foot and end up coming to the top of the foot. Now to come back, we're going to squeeze the toes in the ground. We're going to rock back. We're going to pull the toe up to the ceiling and stretch the calf. We're going to push the toes in the ground. You can even kind of, squeeze them in, rock them around a little bit. And then as you roll back, there's that moment again, ball and heel, except you can't see because of the cat. And then you're going to stretch the calf. We're going to pull that foot in. We're going to take the other foot and put it out. And then we're going to do that same thing. We're going to try and lift the heel and balance for a moment, then roll through the feet. 1, roll through the foot. 2, stretch the top, stretch the ball of the foot, stretch the calf, stretch the ball of the foot, big suck, and stretch the calf. And we're going to pull the foot in. We're going to do it one more time on each side. I'll just move up a board here. Oh, can we just that belly? Okay, so heel down and ball and heel, roll, ball and heel, roll through to the top of the foot, ball of foot, and calf, ball of foot, and calf. Step it in. Last time on the other side. So no popping up. Lift that heel and balance just for a moment and roll through that gait. Heel down, roll through, top of foot, ball of foot, and calf, ball of foot, and calf, and step in. Okay. So we're going to take that idea of getting our feet kind of widening and flattening into the ground. And we're going to work this morning on some mud tile stepping. So mud tile stepping is when you are hovering, see, I'll show this on camera, hovering one foot beside the other. So you're folded in the hip, you're folded in the knee, and the one foot is just slightly off the ground and hovering beside the other. And the idea here is to work on the alignment of center of gravity and base of support. So everything in balance is based on keeping the center of gravity and the line of gravity inside the base of support. And mud tiling is an exercise in that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold each posture for about 15, 20 seconds or so. It'll be really exciting television here. So we're going to put one foot down and we're going to mud tile and hold. So while we're holding, think of that, some of the principles of the alignment of Tai Chi, top of head suspended, shoulders rested, shoulder blades settled underneath, open through the lower back, fold in the qua, and get that wide, wide foot. Maybe another 5 seconds or so here. Standing on one foot is great core work because it constantly forces the body to adjust. So if you're wobbling and shifting and stuff like that, that's okay. That's the work that we're doing. So now we're going to step out. We're going to step through, and you can do this as a bit of a march or as a walk, and then we're going to settle into that foot. So as soon as that heel touches, Imagine releasing in your hip, releasing in your knee, settling in your tailbone, and slowly organize that center of gravity and center of balance over the base of support. Hold it there. Try to breathe, try to release, try to relax, and widen that foot into the floor. Go another few seconds as we hold. And then we're going to take a step. So like that 20 Qigong exercise, heel down, roll through the gate, settle the weight in, and then hover that foot over the beside the other one. Now, if you want good challenges for this, you can do these kind of 1-foot postures by giving yourself a less stable platform to stand on. You know, like you could stack up a thick towel and stand on that. That's a good exercise for this. A few more seconds on this leg. And then roll through your gait. I'll come back the other way here a little. Roll through the gait and settle. Soften in that hip. Open through the lower back. Engage in the lower abdominal area. Drop the shoulder blades. Raise the top of the head. I really suggest, and this again won't make great interactive class work this way, but do this throughout the week. So set that foot down. We'll go back to that other leg again. It's great to sort of grab a timer and start with maybe 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half, up to 2-3 minutes. You could be sort of standing in that 1 foot. Be surprised the kind of workout that you'll start to get, especially if you get a less stable surface to stand on. And it will really help to strengthen the stabilizing muscles so that when you do put your foot down, the body has trained itself to find that center of balance, to place the weight through it, especially this time of the year when we're on slippery surfaces. We want to step our weight through that. I'm going to go one more time on the other foot. So step through and hold for a moment. And you'll find if you're challenging this with a timer, you know, you're doing a minute and a half or so on each leg after a while, you'll really notice an increase in the stability in your ankles and things of that sort as you build up both the initial concepts of the alignment of your body, but also the muscles that are in charge of stabilizing those parts of the body. A few more seconds, and then we'll let it go for this morning. Okay, come on up. So just a few balances today, but it's surprising how much that will challenge the body to do so. We have been working on the old man walk, and that's part of the reason I was just doing the mud tiling, because it is part of that settling into the foot and mud tiled kind of position, so that this toe that we're kind of just touching lightly on the floor, it's not really doing a lot in terms of our balance. It's just kind of there as a reference point. And so as we step through, we're going to be using that rolling gait. We're going to be settling everything into the ground, and then we're going to be lightly touching the toe. And so it's a type of mud tile kind of stepping as well, where we're still focusing on opening that lower back and settling. Now, what it adds to this puzzle, or to this play, is the idea of the engagement of the trunk, the waist. So we're talking about the first version of this we were doing was an open side engagement. So you're turning the trunk and then lifting the arms. So notice that it's not about turning the arms, it's about turning the trunk and then extending through the arms. So a feeling of reaching for the furthest extension you can. And then when we're changing from one leg to the other, there's that rolling gait. Now in this case, we're going to open that foot just slightly because that's going to help to turn the pelvis. And as we settle, here's that moment to organize. The arms go right down to the ground and relax. And we organize everything over that foot. We make our reference. And as we're making our reference with our toe, we're engaging that trunk and elongating the arms. So we're going to go for a couple of minutes working on this one. Depending on the amount of space you have where you're working, you can do this really just 1 foot down, one lifts, 1 foot down, one lifts. If you have enough room for a bit of a stroll, that's great. You can take that as well. So we're going to stroll along. We're going to work on that organization of the balance, touch the toe, and then engage through the waist. Now, see if you can keep the tension out of the shoulders while you're doing this. So this is not a shoulder exercise, it's a hip and spine and core work. And the shoulders want to feel like they're resting down and elongating at the same time. So we don't want to be lifting up from the shoulder. We want to be resting. It's like a kind of extending out of the ball and socket of the shoulder. So then we step through. And like the mud tile, this position can be held for a period of time as well. Or you can work on this one just as a flow. So you flow through, you organize the weight over the foot, and then you reach. You go heel to toe, roll through the ball like we were doing in the 20 Qigong, and then we engage the waist. That's it. We'll go about another 35 seconds, 40 seconds here. So organize the weight. So we're training the body to learn how to receive your mass through the ground. So we don't want to hit the ground and reflect. We want to touch the ground and soften into the hip. Organize over the foot and then engage the waist. Another 15 seconds or so. That's it. Settle. Now, for those who want to push the strength base of this, squat deeper in the legs while you're holding the postures. You don't have to stay fairly upright. You can keep that head low. If you're going to keep the head low, try not to get into bobbing and sinking. Try to get into staying low and transferring that mass without rising out of the legs. Still sitting nice and deep in that squat. If you want to work that squat, you're more than welcome to. Okay, come on up for a second. Shake out those legs, giving them a bit of a work this morning. And let's look at the more difficult second version of this, which is the closed side waist version. So we've been doing a version where as we settle into the hip, the trunk is already kind of naturally facing in the direction we're going to reach because we've got a slight turnout in the foot. And because we've settled into the pelvis is settled into the hip and is facing that way, the neutral position has my shoulders facing already at a bit of an angle, and I just have to engage the trunk a little bit more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that weight in the leg, but we're going to counter rotate the trunk. Now this is going to be difficult because the desire is going to be to find the rotation in the ankle and in the knee. Where what we want to do, and if you want to take a little bit of the angle out of this foot, you can run this foot a little straighter, is we're going to try to fix that pelvic position so that the pelvis is lining up with the weight-bearing foot, and then we're going to engage the trunk to reach across the body. Now, this is going to be harder because it's going to want to pull you out of that stance. You're going to have to really mentally focus on keeping the pelvis where it is and turning through the lower abdominals, through the lower back, through the rib cage, but not pulling that tension in the shoulders again. So then we settle the weight. We're going to do the same thing. As we settle that weight and we fix that pelvic position, we're going to turn across and work the waist across the other side. And the eyes are going to go with that too. Okay, we're going to go about a minute and a half or so with this. So take your time, walk it along the floor. Like I said, for those who want a good workout, squat in fairly deep, and you can really take some work in those legs. So heel down. As the heel's down and the weight is transferring, at the point where the weight is fully transferred, the hands are relaxed and settle towards the floor, and the weight has come off that foot. As you anchor that foot, continue the pendulum so the arms swing across that closed side. No bobbing up and down. Try to keep everything level so you're working the strength in the legs and the stability in the legs as you're swinging those arms. Hard thing is to keep that tension from building in the arms, to remember that this is not an arm exercise. This is a core stability exercise. So we're stabilizing the core and we're rotating the waist, and the arms are loose and open in the shoulder. I'm gonna go about another 20 seconds or so. Just a couple more. Okay, we'll let it go there this morning. Give those legs a bit of a shake out. I gave them a good working over this morning. So knees around one way, hands around the other. Stretch it down, hang it down towards the floor, and roll to come back up. Okay, speaking of giving those legs good work over, let's touch base again with our Taking Tiger to the Mountain, which is a part of the Tai Chi set. We've been working on the last section of the Beijing form, the last turnaround to finish of the form. And one of the pieces, the final piece of the set, is this Taking Tiger to the Mountain. So again, choose your width for your feet. The wider you go with the feet, the more workout you're looking for. Watch your traction levels on the floor so you don't end up doing splits without thinking about it. And what we want to be able to do here, we've been talking about opening and closing the hips. Wah, wah, wah. So we want to get this idea that one side is opening and the other side is closing. And what that's going to do is cause a rotation and a shifting of mass into the closed side. So the open side, the mass is going to transfer to the closed side. You want this nice open feel right down to the heel, tailbone tucked underneath you. Come through the center by folding the open hip and opening the closed hip. Extend out and settle. Myself, I struggle with this one to not have my tailbone kick out, and then I'm adjusting with my trunk. So I really have to focus on opening through that hip and stretching through that hip for the range so that I can sit my tailbone down. So through the center and to one side. And here what we're going to do is cross the arms. We're going to raise the arms up. As we come through the center, the paw, it's like you're kind of holding the weight of the world in your hands here. You're kind of stretched up nice and high. And then as you turn to that side, you're going to let those arms settle. And like we were doing with the waist in the old man walk, we're going to turn the waist a little bit. And then we're going to settle those arms. So we come through the center and we close the arms. We get underneath. We come through the center with the arms over the head. And then the arms start settling as we head in to that leg. Through the center and the arms close. They cross and rise. Through the center as the arms up and opening and settling. That's it. Come through across, lift, come under, and settle. We'll do one more in this direction, then we're going to change to the other way. So under, if you need to come up and take a break from being in this kind of lunged position, that's okay. So now, here's that, that waist turning. You're turning the waist, you're digging that arm through and under, and then you're pushing out of one leg and sitting in the other. As you settle, push through the hip, down into the floor, and soften into the other side. That's it. Open and come through. And come across and come through. We'll do one more. Out and through. Now walk in the foot, step in, and let it settle. Ooh, thanks for that work on the legs. So if you need some work on balance, you can use the wall or a chair or something. We're going to do a bit of a quad stretch. This is going to be done by getting hold of your pant leg or the back of your shoe or the top of your foot. You can also raise the opposite arm. We're going to keep the knees nice and close together, and then we're going to engage in the lower abdominals. And we'll set that down, and we'll do that on the other side. So again, back of pant, back of shoe, top of foot, settle in, engage through the lower abdominals. If you want, raise that opposite hand. And let it settle. Okay, time is doing its usual zipping on by. So let's focus the last part of class on this section from the Beijing form that we have been looking at. So one of the main, we've got about 4 main movements to this. We have the palm, palm, and back fist. So let's try that just as a stationary exercise for now. So we're going to go palm as it comes in, the other one reaches, and then back fist. If you want to engage some legs in this, you draw it in, circle, and step out. Draw it in, palm, palm, and back fist. 2 and 3. That's it. 2 and 3. Let's try that on the other side. So we're going to go palm. Remember, we were talking about this when we first started doing it as a cross body exercise. So we're crossing over, and this back fist is coming across from the back side leg to the front. So we're going to go palm, draw in, circle the foot, step back out. Palm, palm, back fist. Palm, palm, and back fist. One more. Palm, palm. There's that mud tile. And then push out of that mud tile. Okay, let's try that now while introducing the inside turnaround. Inside turnaround, 2 main ways to turn. We can turn by turning inside, toes coming towards the core, or we can turn outside, toes going away from the core. We're going to work on an inside turn. So let's do this. I'm going to go right leg forward here, and we're going to turn inside. We're going to settle back and mud tile on that right leg now. Palm, palm, and then we're going to step out with the left and back fist. So now I'm going to transfer the weight out of the left, turn in with the left as I do my first palm, draw in the right leg as I mud tile in the left, and then step out and transfer the weight back to the right, and we'll be right where we started again. So we're going to go transfer the weight, turn in, palm, palm, and back fist. Transfer the weight, palm, palm, and back fist. If you want to think a little self-defensey here, shoulder, elbow, side of hand, fingers, parrying, back fist. You can think about get hold of somebody, turn in for throws, and back fist. But what we want to keep is that idea that we're always taking that nice plumb line of the line of gravity and making sure it's staying inside the base of support. So we don't want to start leaning and breaking down that nice straight plumb line. And through. Okay. The next part we're going to look at is something we don't see all that much in the rest of the set. We've got a few lead arm techniques with our rooster, where we're coming in and striking with rooster, but a lot of the techniques are sideways and things like this with the lead arm. This one with step forward and palm is one of the few techniques where we're getting a really just straight shove with that lead arm. Now in the set, it's kind of a transferring moment where we end up with the weight still staying in the back leg. So what we're going to do for now is we're just going to get this idea of wind up and push forward, but don't transfer all the weight there yet. So we're going to go pull back and come forward. Pull back and step palm. Good. So our Xing Chuan players, they'll be very used to playing this kind of palm forward motion. Now, what do we do with this other hand? Always these sense of bow and arrow feeling where you're getting two forces working together in the internal arts, a pull and a push. So in the set, we've been in a position where we have back fist. So let's start that. We're going to go back fist. We're going to roll back to wind up. And then as we push out of that back foot and transfer into the front foot, we're going to kind of pull and palm. So from the back fist position, we wind up and then we draw with the front and palm strike. Do it a couple more times on this leg, then we'll change it to the other side. Open and palm. And there's some of that waist work we were doing from our old man walk as well. This is an open side engagement of the waist. So we open side engagement here to wind up, and then we transfer that through the center, sink in that hip, and you're going to be able to drive through. Let's try that with the other hand forward, and I'm just going to keep the same direction so you can see this details from the other side. So I'm going to roll back. Now this front arm isn't collapsing. Notice that this front arm is kind of staying right where it was. It's kind of in line with my wall hanging behind me here, and I'm kind of keeping that there. I'm stretching this out. A lot of modern fighting people call this an indexing kind of thing, where you kind of have an idea or you got a hold of, and you're kind of pushing away and then pull push. Boom, you're going to come through and strike with that palm. So we're going to roll this open. Now that could be the back fist. As you hit with the back fist, you're winding up to hit with this palm. That's it. Pull it open and palm. A couple of more. Pull it open. Transfer that weight right back to the beginning of class. Roll off the ball of the foot. Settle in the hip. Find the mud tile. Good. Roll open waist and palm. Okay. The next concept is circle. Circle. So, like usual, circles start in my inside and transfer out to the palm. So this hand, or we can do it on the other hand, or we could do it on this hand, or we could do it on the other hand. So you can play from side to side, and what you're finding is outside edge of hand, palm of hand, top of hand, outside edge of hand, palm. And this is connected to those waist turnings. So don't move the hand. Think of move the insides. As the insides go one way, the hand goes one way. As the insides travel, the hand travels. And notice how that's setting up for things like our palm strikes. And these are parries. These are deflections. These are reaching in and getting hold in a grapple situation. You might be sliding underneath somebody's tricep and elbow. You might be holding, you might just be tapping something with your palm. You might be inside their arms. You might be stepping outside their arms. There's a lot of work that can come out of these circles. Circle. Now, in this case, we're using this circle as part of the wind up for another circle, which is going to be, how we show this one, out, palm turns out, down, spiral. There's a punch starting here, and then we're dipping that elbow and we're driving an uppercut up. So this is a rear arm uppercut technique we're working on. We're not throwing it with the shoulder. We're using the hip like a bat, and the arm is just like a battering ram. We've got a whole, battalion of people behind this battering ram, and that's your torso. We can't use the battering ram on its own. It needs the engine, and the engine is this pushing the ground and this driving in. And what you're looking for a good punch is middle knuckle is your contact point, and you want that wrist nice and straight through, and you want that middle knuckle in line mostly with your elbow. So no out, no in, particularly no curve, no wiggle or waggle with the wrist, because if you're throwing impact through that wrist and it's out of alignment, all that impact is going to try to exit through the wrist, and it's going to hurt a lot. So you want to make sure that's connected. Now, you should be able to kind of visualize a line from your foot on the ground to your middle knuckle. So if you imagine weight being pressed down on your middle knuckle, it would push your back leg into the ground. Now, eventually you can pop off right to the toe for some extension, but you want to get that feeling that they're working in unison. And people interested in short power, you can create this just with a twist of the hip, where you're just turning, firing that hip towards the ground, and we're going to deliver the mass. Now, we said that we don't want to have an arm stagnate. So the exercise we're going to look at is going to do this. We're going to part the arms, and then we're going to scoop and fire that uppercut. Part the arms and uppercut. Weight rolls back and index, come forward and press. Now, sometimes people use this as where you pressure against the person, and most people's reaction to pressure against them is to lean into that pressure, to bulldog into that pressure, and then you just kind of release them into the punch. So they kind of lean against that hand and they get released into the punch. Let's try it off the other side. So we're going to roll and open, and we're going to come through an uppercut. Let's roll these two apart. Pull them apart. Parry and uppercut. Pull them apart. Parry and uppercut. One more time. Pull and parry and uppercut. Oh, darn, I'm looking at our time here. I got to keep on moving. So, the last piece of this puzzle, and we might just take this section into February as well because there's still a lot to work on. The last piece of this puzzle is this crossing over, where I'm kind of putting my palm, now I'm kind of exaggerating by putting my palm right on my elbow, but this idea of kind of reaching over, clearing out, settling, and pushing. Rolling back, like taking off some long gloves, settling in, and then pushing out. Palms up, roll back, palms settle, and push. Under, draw, settle, push. One more time on this side, and we'll try it on the other side. Under, draw, and push. Other leg forward. So if you've got two hands out in the front, as you sit back, you're going to turn the palms up and you're going to cut underneath. So here again is that open side kind of settling. We're going to clear back by winding up on the open side. Notice my indexing again. It's just as much about the one hand pulling back as it is about the other hand coming forward. Then we're going to part. Here's that closed side waist turn. So I'm kind of setting up to push by aligning my core, but my hips are still on the diagonal. So I can then engage those hips with a nice alignment in my arms and push. So roll and push. So roll back and push. There's a lot of work on how to catch people by the shoulder and arm in here, how to transfer across their shoulder, how to deflect and roll energy off to the side. One more time, and then we're over time, but we'll go through the whole sequence a couple of times. Okay, so let's bring all the parts together. So we're going to go from, I'll start this out facing this direction for the first couple times. So I'm left foot forward, and I'm in fan through back. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do that inside turn. Turn in, draw down, and I'm going to step out to my back fist. Then I'm going to roll back, pick up. Here's that stepping forward half step with the palm strike. Boom. Now that continues to flow into our wind up for the uppercut, which sets us up for our clear and push. And that sets us up to cross underneath, shift the foot so it lines the heels up, come over the head, come back, cross the arms. Now we step in, we open up the hands, and we settle back down. I'll take it, I know, I'm going to do it 2 times on each side before we close today. So one more time from this side, and then I'll change my angle for you. So high pat on, or fan through back, high pat on horse. We're going to turn, draw, and back fist, roll back, and palm. Now you start to get that, the feel. There's something about the nice flow and connectivity of movements in Tai Chi that has a Really, I don't know, beautiful feel to the movements. And push, come under, roll, roll, step, and close. Okay, twice from this side, and then we really got to call it a morning here. So I have gone from fan through back. I'm just not going to change my legs, so just changing the direction. Palm, draw in palm, step out back fist, roll back, and come through palm, draw back, lift the leg, and uppercut, clear the arm, and push, come under, over the head for take tiger, through, step in, and close. Yeah, let's do that one last time for today. So, fan through back, turn, inside turn, draw, and back fist, roll back, and step in, pull back, and punch, clear the arm, and push, under, over the head, back through to the left leg, cross arms, step in, and settle. Nice. So you get a nice flavor of that idea of Tai Chi. One leg, other leg, constant sense of flow and change from the insides. Okay, I've run you over time today. Sorry to keep you here so long. Let's cool it off. So shoulders can go back. And shoulders can go forward. Arms can circle back. And arms will come forward. Reach and lean to one side. Reach and lean to the other. And after all that work, a bit of a stretch down to one leg. And a stretch to the other. Good. Come to that center and roll up. Okay, chi release goes down and away. So the goal is at the end of these kind of workouts to feel like, yes, the body's been worked, but there's a sense of kind of settled calm that goes along with it. So we'll sink that down and hold for a second. Okay, thanks for training hard today. Quick commercial announcement. This is the end of January, so if you want to continue on and work with the live classes and the archives and stuff into February, I'll be sending out those links over the weekend and getting ready for our February classes. So send along the payments and we'll get you the links for the next month. Okay, thanks for training today. If anybody has any questions, we'll stick around for a few.